Which celebrity do you irrationally hate? Shikabouty said. My girlfriend's mother hates Ed Sheeran for no other reason than she thinks he would smell like shit. She gags at the sight of him. Edit, grammar. Gore 8884 said. None, because investing that much energy into someone you don't know is pathetic. Is what I would say if Jimmy Fallon didn't exist. Nahasasi said. Not at all a celebrity, but I cannot stand Little Red Riding Hood. What kind of a dumbass mistakes a wolf for their grandmother? There are other reasons, but I just hate her with a passion. Asamagotwin said. Maybe it's because he's a self-proclaimed relationship expert who has written multiple relationship books all while being a scumbag serial cheater. Funnily enough, he also claims that nobody should date atheists because they can't have a moral barometer. American Doggus said. He currently has, or is on, a radio show too, where there's a segment called The Strawberry Letter. Him and his female co-host will read these letters sent in from listeners detailing the drama of their love lives, and then give a bit of input. Every time Steve speaks, it's out of touch, sexist, and done in a holier-than-thou manner. Plus, he speaks over his co-host and tells her she's wrong about women's perspectives pretty regularly. In line but out of shape said. There's a video of him giving dating advice. He writes books about that kind of thing. A woman asked him how to get her husband to stop nagging her. He said, "A husband nagging? I've never heard of that in my life." Then moved on to the next question. Keep in mind books. Plural. Amarkslov said. Yeah, Forbes named her the youngest self-made billionaire, but when they asked for proof, they found out she forged many of the tax forms and probably made less than half of what she claimed. The Jenners obviously said Forbes was lying, but it's amazing how they thought the magazine wouldn't double-check to make sure she actually was worth $1 billion. Bliskreet said. It's not just the startup money. She is literally just the face. The hard work was all done by Kris Jenner. The woman made herself a billionaire and her daughter is just her bank account. Left to her own devices, Kylie would have made a pretty penny from being related to Kim, but their momager is the one that does the business meetings, etc. I doubt Kylie even picked a color for a tube of lipstick in her brand. I hate the letter C said. Poppy Honey Rosie Oliver. Petal Blossom Rainbow Oliver. Daisy Boo Pamela Oliver. Poppy is fine. Honey is weird, doesn't fit into a name emo. Rosie is fine. Petal is a sweet animal name but not as a human name. Blossom, same again. Rainbow, did they get kids to give the name? Daisy, fine. Boo is a sweet endearment but not as a real name. Pamela, is this the 1930s? None of those names read well, they don't flow. And they're just the girls. Agent 847 said. I can't stand her either. I know nothing about her, but she strikes me as having an air of totally unearned superiority. Like she's a total mediocrity who thinks she's better than everybody else simply because she was lucky to be born hot and married to someone with actual talent. I had a relative like that. She married a successful doctor and she acted like she was the one who made the money, earned the respect, etc. It was a nauseating, projected insecurity. That's what I dislike about Taichin. Maybe way off base. Victor Laszlo said. It's not hate, but I have an irrational fear of John Malkovich and Sigourney Weaver. Their eyes and their smile give me a creepy serial killer vibe. It's hard to put my finger on, but I would be terrified to be alone in a room with either of them. Something about their aura tells my reptile brain, run. Escape. This being will kill and eat you in no particular order. And my reptile brain has never steered me wrong. Tedious Sandwich said. Before I got sober, I was really into psychedelics. I would take some acid and play video games, listen to music, watch a movie, etc. Well, I took a few hits and started watching Observe and Report with Seth Rogen. It got to a part where it zooms in on his face and for some reason I became obsessed with how ugly he was. His face was melted and had spots all over it and he was sweaty. I couldn't stop thinking about Seth Rogen's ugliness that it ended up sending me into the first bad trip I ever had. I lost my mind and started feeling like I was dying. I can't watch Seth Rogen movies much anymore without being reminded that his ugliness sent me into a bad trip. In fact, I stopped taking psychedelics for the most part after this and I was never really able to take them again without thinking of that time. Gusitzer incept Anna Kendrick. It's irrational hatred but still has reasoning. I loved Anne Hathaway as a kid, Ella Enchanted in The Princess Diaries, but I got her mixed up with Anna Kendrick all the time, and so when I heard Anna Kendrick was in a movie I wanted to see it only to be disappointed when it wasn't Anne Hathaway like I thought, so now when I see her I just get angry and disappointed. Lugnuts and Bolts said, "Don't forget about Bad Baby. I think that Walking Poss is actually the absolute worst idiot the world made famous. Her and all the Viners turned YouTube comedians who were always desperately trying to keep their relevancy. Looking at Joel Asshats, Logan and Jake Paul, Lele Pons, Tana Mwongo, etc. Lisa Koshy is the only one who I genuinely like out of all the Viners and who I get good vibes from." Mil BB Eartred said, "He's not a massive celebrity but David Goggins rubs me the wrong way. He's very disingenuous in his story of how he went from obesity to Navy SEAL. He leaves out that he was a phenomenal athlete. He leaves out that he had an outstanding career in the Air Force as a TAC, Special Operations job. He was also a terrible SEAL that intentionally dodged dangerous deployments. The exact opposite of what most people sign the contract for. Don't get me wrong. His willpower is outstanding and commendable. I just think he uses his time in the teams as a marketing gimmick for it, and it should be the other way around. As someone who lost a tremendous amount of weight to get a shot at the SEAL pipeline, dudes like him have my utmost respect for graduating, but yes, I just can't get past the whole officer uniform with the trident on the front of his book. I'm going enlisted, so maybe I shouldn't be talking, but I don't have any doubts a lot of the guys in the teams now have the same attitude." Mollipop94 said, "Jimmy Kimmel. I really find him so incredibly bland, devoid of personality or natural organic humor. He always appears to me stiff and uncomfortable with the same polished smile stuck to his face. Compared to say Conan or Graham Norton, who are unpredictable, very funny, engaging, etc. etc. I've always felt uncomfortable watching his segments." Werewolf Bar Mitzvah said, "I used to like James Franco, but then I think he started taking himself too seriously. Please keep your hands off the rights to 19th-20th century American novel classics. You will not do a good job and will fucking ruin them with your shitty attempts at making gritty movies. Also, dude's also just a giant piece of shit predator." Vicious Friendly Fish said, "Ed Sheeran. A lot of his music is shockingly bland for the level of popularity he has, and the fact that he still seems keen to pass himself off as a normal guy despite having a £200 million net worth and a swimming pool that he tried to pass off as a wildlife sanctuary apparently. He also claimed that his number 6 collaborations project album got successful with zero promo. Newsflash, announcing a release date, and bringing out singles and music videos as promo." Killjoy 905 said, "Sia has been antagonistic to the autistic community, and her movie about an autistic girl is entirely uninformed and problematic generally. If her music comes on the radio or there's some article about her, I have to ignore it or change the station, or else I'll just be irrationally angry the rest of the day. She had good music when I didn't know she was an insensitive prick." Lifeslam 91 said, "Thomas the Tank Engine. I have no reason whatsoever, but I absolutely fucking hate him. When my ex's kids were staying with us, I refused to allow it on the TV until about an hour before bedtime. I wasn't so horrible that I would put a blanket ban on it, but every time I heard that stupid opening song, I was instantly in a bad mood, so it had to wait until I could occupy myself with dishes or something." Turnbob73 said, "Not a specific person, but rather I have the same level of irrational disdain for a lot of big Twitch streamers. People like Mizkif, Pak Himane, Ludwig, Hassan, and especially Mpla or whatever his name is, the one who basically just streams him and his girlfriend cooking while they fight. They just all seem like slimmer oi people. And as someone who was in some of the same social circles as that crowd of internet personalities back when I lived in LA, they really are very shitty people off camera. Not assholes, but manipulative and just straight up evil. You hear some shit about these people in these social circles and all you can think to yourself is, good God, there's going to be a Metu on steroids in the future." But her Scotch said, "Demi Lovato. Nothing to do with their career or persona, it's just something about the shape of their mouth that pisses me off. Edit, corrected the pronouns, thank you for the correction. Due to aforementioned irrational hatred, I definitely don't keep up with Demi news, but even those I hate deserve to have their identities respected. And to anyone who gets upset when they hear non-binary or neopronouns or some other aspect of another person's identity that they don't understand, keep it to yourself. You don't have to understand in order to be respectful. Boy Beyond Stars said. Olivia Rodrigo. Every teenage girl I know is obsessed with her music, and it pisses me off. She's so butthurt over this breakup that literally nobody on the whole fucking planet cares about that she wrote a whole album about it. 1 or 2 songs about that breakup? I get it, maybe songwriting is your way of coping. But a whole fucking album? Get over it? Jesus, what a baby. German tennis champ said. Russell Brand. The guys just annoys the living shit out of me. I thought I was being irrational about it and decided to give him a chance. So, I watched one of his stand-up comedy specials, with an open mind, and I didn't laugh once. He is so full of himself and speaks as if his opinions on life should be followed by everyone. Every time I hear him talk I despise him more. The fact that he was very popular for a period of time absolutely grinds my gears. I also have to point out that this has nothing to do with my crush on Katy Perry. Cool Walrus 141 said. Not sure if they count as celebrities, but any IG influencers are family vlog YouTubers because 1, they just feel entitled to everything. 2, all they really do is flex. 3, I get it. Your life is better than mine. Stop rubbing it in. 4, what are the kids gonna do with their lives when they're too old or aren't popular? These parents are ruining their kids' lives. And 5, it takes all value from the family. All of your kids' lives can be seen by any random person with internet, so it becomes content for attention rather than fun family moments. NVM, I'm probably just jealous. Nivernum said. Oh boy. My time has come. My partner is always giving me shit for irrationally hating a whole slew of people, but here are the notable 3. Vincent D'onofrio. Something about his delivery and constant, seemingly unintentional sneer rubbed me the wrong way. Probably from years of being forced to watch years of Law & Order, Criminal Intent. Admittedly, a lot of that hate died down with his Kingpin, and I have been able to go back and watch him in other stuff, Full Metal Jacket, Men in Black, and not cringe recently, so I've got that going for me. Vince Vaughn. The man who can't help but work, I like where your head's at, into every single thing he is ever in. Paul Rudd. Every single movie is Paul Rudd starring and Paul Rudd is Paul Rudd. It never seems like his characters are ever any different. I still have never seen Ant-Man or its sequel, yet I have seen every other Marvel movie, including the turds, Looking at You, Thor: The Dark World, multiple times. I hate him that much. Nitty 123 said. Hugh Jackman. I hate the dude's singing voice. I get it, he's worked his entire life blah blah blah, he still fucking sucks at singing. I appreciate his work ethic, and recognize his talent as an actor and dancer, but I cannot get over how nasal and strained his voice sounds, especially in live performances. I also hate Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm convinced he wrote his own musicals because he couldn't get cast in anything. I fucking hate the sound of his voice, but it's his brand now. It sucks. He sounds like he's not in tune even when he is, and his lyrics are entirely too wordy. I don't mean they're too smart, I mean they don't fit the fucking music. Bandicoot SVK said. This is not irrational hate. I absolutely have a fucking reason to hate this group of people. I want to scalp all of the AI executives, then dip their skulls in salt and lemon juice and set them on fire while the bottom half of their bodies are getting ran over by a tank, just to make their last moments on Earth as physically painful as possible. They are a big part of the reason why all of the fucking video games have microtransactions and why most video games are live services. You are the reason why games aren't fun anymore, and why they are focusing on multiplayer. I especially fucking hate Patrick Sutherland. He is not a celebrity, but I want to break both of his fucking legs with a sledgehammer, then put him in a porta potty and set it on fire. Holy shit, I have nothing but pure hatred for that man. Can't make apple cake said. John Travolta, especially in his younger days. It's irrational. The black, greasy-looking, gel-soaked hair, and for some reason the hole in his chin bothers me so much and I still don't know why. Now he has a beard and is bald, which is a lot easier to look at. But now he has a Botox forehead, so the upper half of his face just looks emotionless. I couldn't sit through Pulp Fiction because of it. I couldn't sit through Grease, and after that I just haven't watched a single movie with him in it.